the sixth episode of What If, we witnessed a big change of events with Killmonger saving Tony and preventing the creation of Iron Man and Tony's entire character arc. How would these changes in events affect the future timeline of the MCU, with having the biggest heroes in the entirety of the Infinity Saga? What could this mean for the other heroes as they have to face the future dangers and threats of Thanos without Tony's intellect and his tech? Let us discuss this future timeline of episode 6 of What If Marvel's What If continued. Now, where we left off with the story of Killmonger was actually taken care of by the Watcher. So with Pepper and Shuri, their assault on Killmonger would be underclimactic, as it would quickly finish and people would wonder where Killmonger went. But everything will go back to normal. Kinda. The everlasting effect still holds close to the US and Wakanda, as the world now knows the truth about the country, so they would still be against each other, but will be at a standstill for now. With T'Challa being killed, Shuri will be the next Black Panther. Now, with her being smart comparable to Tony, Nick Fury does have interests in the people of Wakanda, with considering Shuri as a possible candidate for the Avengers Initiative, as she can definitely closely fill the boots for Tony. Iron Man 2. Now, without the creation of Iron Man and the repulsor tech, Ivan Vanka wouldn't go looking for revenge against Stark, and be more glad that he is already dead. Most likely, he would just stay at home, never becoming Whiplash. Also, with Justin Hammers, would take over the weapon industries since Stark Industries has been taken over by the government. Thor would stay the same. Captain America the First Avenger would also stay the same, but Avengers will not. The story would go on similarly just without Tony. When they try to capture Loki, it would be a little more difficult without Tony, but they would manage, or at least until Thor arrives. Now, this encounter will be a lot different between the two without Tony starting a fight with Thor, so they would head to SHIELD headquarters, and the Avengers will meet up. Now, one thing without Tony being there, the Avengers would not know the true intent of SHIELD, using the scepter to make weapons, but without Tony, their weapons would be more helpful for others. Also, there would be no argument since there is no Tony, so the team would still be united. But when it comes to the attack, the helicarrier would most likely crash, because without Iron Man, they won't be able to fix the carrier. So that would be done for, which would have major casualties. But we could say that the Avengers would have escaped, but then we continue with the Battle of New York. This would be a harder battle, with losing one of the strongest members, but the Avengers have already lost a lot, as they would fight back even stronger, being a stronger team. There would be more destruction, but overall would be a successful win. But when it comes to the nuke being sent, it would cause panic, as they don't have anyone who could maneuver it into the portal. Even with Hulk and Thor, they can't move the nuke into space. They believe it's over, but then they see a portal that opens and removes the nuke. They're all confused, but glad that the problem has been fixed. Now it's still close the portal, and that would end all the T'Challa invasion, and Loki will be caught. Iron Man 3. In this movie, nothing really happens. Killian would still create his plan in regeneration, but no one would stop him, and he wouldn't really reveal himself nor his true intentions, so he would stay low for now. Thor the Dark World would stay the same. Captain America the Winter Soldier would stay the same as well, but Nick would take action by requesting aid from Wakanda, and wanted to sign Shuri to become an Avenger as the Black Panther. Guardians of the Galaxy stay the same. Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, Ultron wouldn't be created since Tony would never even come up with the idea. The Avengers would struggle to try to take back the scepter, but with the newest member of the Avengers being a 17-year-old Black Panther, Shuri, she helps and manages to up the Avengers' technology. She would be the one to break in and take the scepter back. In turn, Shuri would be the one to get the nightmare into her head, and she would see her deceased brother, which would shake her, but would continue onward, but different from Tony. She would tell the others about Wanda's power. There also wouldn't be any Avengers Tower because, well, obviously Tony was the one paying the bills, and they don't have that no more. So with the aid of Wakanda, they managed to get a place built similar to the one they had at the end of Age of Ultron. Shuri would still be studying the scepter to gain more research on it, and maybe implement it to Wakanda's technology. They would have a little party as usual, but with the lack of Iron Man, but having the King and Queen of Wakanda at the party. And it would end normally without any Ultron attacking. So the main focus of this movie will be the superpowered twins, and the role they have with the Avengers would somewhat be a challenge, as the twins have much better powers, but with the numbers that the Avengers have, also knowing what Wanda can do with her powers so they can counter her powers, and with their teamwork, they will be able to detain them. Now, I believe they would join the Avengers team after a talk with someone like Steve, since Tony is dead and was never a part of the Avengers. They would have a good chance of becoming members of the team. The good thing is that Sokovia is all safe. Oh yeah, and Ant-Man would also stay the same. Captain America, Civil War. Now, this whole problem would be less of the problems the Avengers faced in the normal timeline. The Sokovia Accords wouldn't be a thing since Sokovia didn't fall to the ground, and Ultron wasn't ever created. So King T'Chaka will not get blown up, and Zemo wouldn't plot against the Avengers since he never lost his family. The only real problem is the sighting of Bucky. Steve seeing this will be really concerned. He wouldn't assemble the entire team just to select a few. He would gather Black Widow, Falcon, Wanda, and Quicksilver. They would all go to where Bucky was sighted. Capturing Bucky will be rather easy and not have the police force trying to stop them. They will bring him back to the compound, but Bucky's still a bit on edge. But Steve believes in Bucky and would try to give him help. Doctor Strange. It will stay the same, besides the fact that it will be revealed that the Ancient One was the one that dealt with the nuke during the Battle of New York. Now yes, it is skeptical if the Ancient One would have helped out the Avengers if they failed to stop the nuke, but since the Ancient One was looking after Stephen Strange, as he was destined the power of Sorcerer Supreme, and would have a big part to play in the future, so I do see it possible that she would have dealt with the nuke in order to protect Strange, as he was in New York. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 would say the same. Spider-Man Homecoming. Now this will be a different movie. Spider-Man will be on his own and never really gotten any experience with other heroes. He would really be on his own dealing with the Vulture, and he would have some near-death experiences and would be on the news. Steve would be at the compound and see the Spider-Man on the news with his problems with the Vulture and would decide to help out Spider-Man. Steve would go out with Falcon and Wanda and meet up with Spider-Man one day. This would freak Spider-Man out with meeting the Avengers. Falcon would make fun of his crappy suit, but Steve changes the subject, saying that he wants to take Spider-Man to the Avengers and help out with his Vulture situation. Vulture would be taken down much more easily with the help of Cap, Falcon, and Wanda. At the end of the movie, Spider-Man will become an actual member of the Avengers. Thor Ragnarok. This movie will be drastically different, as Hulk never left Earth. The start will still be the same up until Thor fights Hulk, because well, we don't have a Hulk. So Thor will be the strongest on Sakaar, but he will still plan to escape. But I believe Thor and Loki will be able to escape, but barely, as the ship will take a lot of damage and basically be broken when they arrive on Asgard. But sadly, without the aid of Hulk and Valkyrie, there will be major casualties, as they have less fighters to protect the Asgardians. Thor will have a close battle against Hela, but he would barely survive long enough for Loki to bring Surtur, and Hela will have to fight off against Surtur, as Thor and the others would escape. Black Panther wouldn't happen, as all the events can't happen since, T'Challa and Killmonger are both dead. So, on to Infinity War. Now when Thor and the Asgardians, most likely the entire race, will be wiped out except Thor. Now a big problem is that the Avengers will not be warned by Bruce, so Doctor Strange will not go looking for the Avengers. The spaceship will land on Earth, and seeing this, the Avengers would assemble to New York. With the aid of Doctor Strange, they will be able to take on 4 members of the Black Order. Not without its challenges, but they would stay on Earth and all rally to Wakanda to prepare for Thanos' attack. On space, the Guardians would go through the same as normal, but when they arrive at Titan, they would be wasting their time. The Battle of Wakanda would go on, but with Thanos being there at the start. And this would not be good for the heroes, as they are severely lacking in manpower, without having people like Iron Man and War Machine, but in turn, they have Hulk and Quicksilver. With the lack of the Black Order members and not having to protect Vision, they can focus on the fight, but with Thanos being there, most of the stones besides the Mind and Time Stones, Wakanda still have a scepter and their city. Thanos would work his way through the army using the various stones he has collected, taking down many heroes, and even blasting Doctor Strange and taking the Time Stone. With having but one stone left, he uses the Space Stone to teleport to the scepter, breaking it, collecting the final stone. He snaps his fingers, which erases half of life, erasing the same members as normal, and Quicksilver will be with the remaining members. Nebula would give up as she is left alone and would go down with her life accepting the major loss. Sadly, Thor would arrive too late, as Thanos had an easier time to get to the last stone, so Thor would feel even greater shame not being able to deal with Thanos. This loss in the Avengers will be taken heavily, as some of them are really angry, like Quicksilver, Hulk, Thor, and many others. Sadly, even when Scott is released years later, they won't be able to create time travel, as without Tony's brains, the Avengers just have to accept their losses and move on with their new way of life. Any movies onwards happen the same, besides Endgame, as there won't be any time heist to collect the stones, unfortunately. And that is going to be What If Marvel's What If Continued, episode 6. So, let us know what y'all thought about this story. If you did enjoy it, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button, as we will always appreciate the support. Make sure to go check out our previous episodes of this series if you want more similar content. If you would like to suggest some what ifs, leave it down in the comments below. I know this has been a sour ending, as the Avengers can't fix their mistake with Thanos winning, and the loss of Tony early on really had the future in darkness, since Tony was the main reason they could get a second chance to bring everyone back, so the remaining Avengers had to accept that they lost and continue their lives. But hey, I mean, comic books are the same. You know, you have your story when Spider-Man saves the day, and other times when the writers were going through something and decided to make Spider-Man suffer. So let us know in the comments how y'all would have thought it would have played out. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.